came here. But we need not find ourselves on opposite sides of the board.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my finished Poison Shredder Werewolf for D4. This is a build I've been working on for over 3 weeks. It can push endgame content, it is tanky, it does great DPS, but more importantly, it is honestly just a blast to play. It has amazing clear speed, and I'm going to showcase that for you today. As always, we will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now, the skills I'm using for this Poison Shredder are Blood Howl, Poison Creeper, Debilitating Roar, Grizzly Rage, Rabies, and Shred, Shred being the main damage dealer. And you probably noticed there is no generator on this bar. Yes, we can maintain our spirit without having a generator. That is the reason why I am using Rabies. Now, what we're going to do for the gameplay portion is in World Tier 4, we're going to do a little bit of Helltide, so you can see how quickly you can gather cinders. Then we're going to do a little bit of normal dungeon. Then we're going to do a little bit of nightmare dungeon, so you can just see what is capable with this build. So let's go find some enemies inside of this Helltide. And by the way, you can easily get 1,000 cinders with this build. So let's gather up some enemies. Anybody else? And then you just bounce around. All dead. Currently not using a potion, currently not using a shrine. They just all disintegrate. And you will notice all those deaths. My spirit is still full. This build is also tanky because you're going to have Fortify up almost the entire time through Debilitating Roar and Grizzly Rage. A rose. This is too easy. Helltide is one of my favorite end games, but at this point now, I mean, you literally just, as you can see, we just go through and kill everything. Mini bosses, main bosses in Helltide, all extremely easy. Okay, proving my point here, let's go over to a regular dungeon. All right, normal dungeon time. Currently not using a potion. And as you can see, you can just literally walk through this. Very easy. Don't have to worry about survivability, really anything. Elite, down. Just tear through it. All right. Are we ready for the nightmare dungeon? That's where you got to pay attention. All right, let's move over to the nightmare dungeon. Nightmare dungeon 41. And as you can see, a little slower for sure compared to just the regular dungeon, but still very doable. Now, anytime you need that burst of damage, you want to create a little distance so that you're using your shred dash. When you come out of Grizzly Rage, immediately hit your Creeper, and then go back in. So far, so good. Give me those. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh man, friggin' disgusting. Room cleared. I'll play for a little bit. Jump over to the boss fight. Okay, I think I've proved my point on regular gameplay. Let's go fight a boss. Dungeon boss. And I'm going to show you the power of Blurred Beast with this build. No gimmicks, no pots, no weird stuff. Okay, ready? And let's go. You are dead. Single target damage is crazy. Let me show you how to recreate this build. Now let's check out the skills for this poison shredder. When it comes to generators, doesn't matter because we are not using one, so it's just 2 points that are a throwaway. Moving on to your main damage dealer, shred. You want 5 into shred, 1 into enhanced shred, and 1 into primal shred. Big shout out to Lone Star McFluffin, who helped me understand the importance of primal shred with Blurred Beast. This is absolutely required for the build. It doesn't work really without it, so make sure you'll take Primal Shred. I also have 3 points into Predatory Instinct, which is going to boost your crit chance. Coming down here, we are using 2 different defensive skills. 5 points into Blood Howl, 5 points into Debilitating Roar. And then on here, you want Debilitating Roar heals you, and this skill is going to give you Fortify. And then on Blood Howl, it is going to heal you and generate spirit. We're not using a generator, so every once in a while you'll be in a hairy situation and you need a little extra spirit. Blood Howl is how you're going to get it. You want 1 into Ancestral Fortitude, 3 into Vigilance. Now, since we're using 2 defensive skills, it's going to be really easy to keep this up, which is going to give you an additional 15% damage reduction. Coming down to your companions, we don't want wolves, we don't want ravens, we want Poison Creeper, which is just an amazing skill. You can literally build your own build around Poison Creeper if you wanted. 5 into Poison Creeper, 1 into Poison Creeper's active poisoning is increased by 3 because you want that poison to last longer. And then 3 additional points into Call of the Wild. Coming down, we are grabbing Rabies. Now I'm going to pause here for just a second. I got 5 points into Rabies, and then 1 into the Rabies does its poison quicker. If you cannot maintain your generator without having a generator, okay? If you can't maintain your spirit without a generator, it's totally fine. It is not easy to do, and it does require some gear. You would spec out of Rabies. Okay, we're no longer taking Rabies. You're going to come up here and pick which generator you want. Let's just say you want Claw, and we'll go here. Take your Claw. Actually, we'll save that point. And then you come up here, put those points there, and then put the other 3 right here. This is going to make your core skill stronger. It's going to make your wolf run faster, and you're just going to keep Claw as a generator, or you could take Storm Strike, whichever one you like, and then you just spec out of Rabies. Okay? That's if you can't maintain spirit, that is the way you want to run it. Okay, don't feel bad. It's not easy to maintain your spirit. Okay, but we can, so we are taking Rabies. On top of that, we are taking Neurotoxin, which is going to slow enemies, Envenom, which is going to make the poison enemies take critical strike damage, and we have 6 into Toxic Claws, and you can only get this through your amulet. Critical strikes with werewolf skills deal 45% of their base damage as poisoning over 4 seconds. So much damage from Toxic Claws. Coming down for our ultimate, we are using Grizzly Rage. This is a requirement for the skill, because if you're pushing Nightmare Dungeons and you don't have Unstoppable, you're just stunned or frozen or feared, or pick whichever horrible CC thing there is. Unstoppable is needed to push this build. And then lastly, we're a werewolf, so we take your ferocity. So those are the skills. And again, remember, you can't generate spirit, just spec out of Rabies. Moving over to the spirit boons for our werewolf. Under deer, you want to take wariness, to give you damage reduction from elites. Under Raven, you have 2 options. You can take Wrath, which is going to give you critical strike damage, or you could take Talons, which is going to give you critical strike chance. In this instance, I am taking critical strike damage. Under Wolf, you want to take Energize. Again, no generator, so you need to have a way to generate spirit. Energize is going to help you with this on its lucky hit, and you want Calamity so that your Grizzly Rage lasts longer. Lastly, for Serpent, you want Masochistic, which is going to give you a lot of lifesteal when you are shapeshift into your Werewolf. This is probably the best boon out of everyone on this board. Now let's check out the Paragon boards for this Poison Shredder. And I've redone these boards 100 times, and I'll probably redo them 100 more in the next coming weeks, but I feel like they're in a really good spot. These are the boards you want. Okay, obviously this is the basic board if you want to screenshot it. The second board I took, zoom out a little bit, is right here. This is Ancestral Guidance. The third board I grabbed, which is right here, this is Lust for Carnage. And the fourth board that I will be getting is Heightened Malice. So those are the 4 boards. And obviously through just here, you can follow along. Now, let me tell you the glyphs and the nodes that are important. The first thing we got is Exploit. This is required for the build. This is how you get vulnerability damage. This is going to give you a huge boost to your damage. And all of your gear, you can now take vulnerability damage. So it's required. You have to have it. First glyph that I recommend. On our second board, we did take the legendary node Ancestral Guidance. This is after you spend 75 spirit, you're going to get 30% more damage. You're going to be spending spirit every second. It's basically a free 30%. The second glyph that we got is Werewolf. This is going to give your Werewolf more damage, but also it's going to give it a lot more survivability because this has a secondary bonus of damage reduction while in Werewolf form. And damage reduction is the quintessential survivability affix you want for your build, especially when you are pushing Nightmare Dungeons. Now, on our third board, we also have Lust for Carnage, and this is critical strikes on your Werewolf skill, restores 2 spirit. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. We don't use a generator. Why? It's because we have spec'd into a lot of these nodes. So since you're going to be critting all the time, you're going to be getting back a lot of spirit really, really fast. We also, just to backtrack a little bit, have these nodes where it's 1 spirit on kill, 1 spirit on kill, 2 spirit on kill. So every enemy you kill is going to give you 4 spirit, and every crit is going to give you 2 spirit back. So again, these little generators with you using Blood Howl is how you're going to keep it up, and then also with your gear. The third glyph that we grabbed is Bane. And Bane's going to give you a big boost to your poison damage. Big boost to your poison damage, and has a secondary effect of potentially doubling the amount of damage that it puts out. Okay. And other than that, I mean, that is the Paragon board. This build right now, we are only level 78. Level 78, pushing endgame content. I'm excited to see where it takes us. And right now, I've been messing around with this board. We are headed to right here, which is Heightened Malice. When there are 3 or more poison enemies nearby, you deal 45% more damage. So in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Paragon points, we're going to get Heightened Malice, which is going to be absolutely huge. That is the Paragon board. Moving over to everyone's favorite gear, starting with gems. Now your armors, you want to use sapphires, which is going to give you damage reduction while fortified. Weapon and offhand, you want emeralds, which is critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies. That's where exploit kicks in. And then for your jewelry, you want skulls, which is going to be base armor. Now, I probably should have said this earlier in the video. Not only is this build awesome because you don't need a generator, this build is also awesome because it has no required unique items. There's no, you don't got to go spend hundreds of hours grinding to find some bugged item to make the build work. There's nothing required. That being said, I do think I've run the numbers that the waxing one-handed axe is best in slot, but it's really, really close. But again, it is not required. If you take off the axe and the totem and put on an awesome two-handed ancestral legendary like this axe, I actually am going to get a stronger blurred beast because you're getting a better imprinted aspect, and it's going to give you a base 400 more damage. Okay, so that being said, this is how I ran the build for 98% of the time, but then I finally found this axe, and then we were doing some testing, And I do think it is better in this form, but again, it is really, really close and it is not required. Okay, we're gonna go through each item one by one. Helmet, and you will notice on here, I got +4 to creeper and cooldown reduction. And this is our armor aspect. Chest, heal per enemy close to you. Gloves, Grizzly Rage, this is our dire werewolf. And on here, there's something really important. Lucky hit, up to a 5% chance to restore 21% of your primary resource. This is a perfect roll. No generator. Pants, damage reduction while werewolf. Boots, debilitating roar is now werewolf skill. You saw the axe. Amulet, the duration of Grizzly Rage is increased. Perfect roll. And this is also where we got the +3 ranks to Toxic Claws. Ring, lucky hit strike chance, which you're really looking for on here. Critical strike chance, increase attack speed. Ring number 2, critical strikes with shred, give you lightning damage and surrounding target. This is just like, this isn't a lightning build. It just gives you a little boost to your damage. And then last but not least, the totem. And you will see on here, lucky hit, up to a 5% chance to restore 19.5% primary resource. That means there's a chance on my lucky hits to get 40% of my spirit back. 40%, and then on here as well, we have lucky hit chance. That is the gear. Now let's go over some stats and see where we're at. Again, level 78. Now what I want you to pay attention to is the attack power. You're gonna look at this and be like, dude, 6,100 attack power, that is weak. How are you killing stuff so fast? Well, let me show you. Now we are a werewolf. We're actually a dire werewolf. And look at that attack power. Climbing and climbing. And we are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And now you'll see that the attack power is actually close to 10,000. It actually hit 9,800. And as long as you're killing enemies, this Grizzly Rage is going to have an 8 to 9 second cooldown when you come out of it. So again, Grizzly Rage is absolutely huge for this build and your clear speed. Now, when you're looking at your actual stats for this, critical strike chance in its base form is 34%. Critical strike damage with critical strike damage from werewolf, because you can combine these, is 170-ish, 169, right around there. And then down here, your lucky hit chance is 15%. And again, lucky hit spirit, 40%. So it's having your regular crit chance, but again, 15%. It's happening all the time. Cooldown reduction, 33%. Damage reduction, 92. And armor contribution, 65. So you can definitely take a hit with this poison shredder in its current form. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new poison shredder? Is there something I missed? Is there something I can do to push it to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. Hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I deserve it. And if I haven't earned your sub yet, I'm gonna work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 86 members that have signed up. Become an instant ARPG VIP and get Patreon exclusive content at the first link in the description. I get asked all the time, Aaron, what is the best way to support? If it's between a Twitch sub and a Patreon, go to Patreon. It is the best for the channel, and you get tons of benefits and all the exclusive content. First link in the description. That's all I've got. Poison Shredder is in the books. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron out.